Remember Biden had always used to say, it's an existential threat. He loves the word existential. It's an existential threat. What is? I don't know, climate change. Remember that? Always, that's dangerous too, because they're going to take that thing and they're going to say, he couldn't say existential. So
Trump was in Des Moines celebrating the passage of his $4.5 trillion tax and spending bill, passed with a razor-thin 218 to 214 House vote. The bill extends his first-term tax cuts, boosts border security, and slashes programs like Medicaid and SNAP by over $1 trillion, per the Congressional Budget Office. Trump called it a Yuga win for America's 250th anniversary, but the speech quickly spiraled into controversy, touching on everything from UFC fights to foreign policy missteps. Critics say it was a chaotic mess, and we're about to see why. One of the wildest moments was Trump floating the idea of hosting UFC fights in front of the White House as part of the America 250 celebrations.
We're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this, on the grounds of the White House. We have a lot of land there. We're going to build a little, we're not, Dana's going to do it. Dana's great, one of a kind. We're going to have a UFC fight, championship fight, full fight, like 20, 25,000 people. And we're going to do that as part of 250 also. We're going to have some incredible events, some professional events, some amateur events, but the UFC fight's going to be a big deal.
Then there's the anti-Semitic slur that set off a firestorm, while attacking bankers and estate taxes.
But if you love them, or if you love somebody that you're leaving it to, think of that. No death tax, no estate tax, no going to the banks and borrowing from, in some cases, a fine banker, and in some cases, Shylocks and bad people. But they took away a lot of family. They destroyed a lot of families, but we did the opposite. So just remember, to me, it's so important.
On the policy front, Trump made a bizarre claim about hydrogen cars, saying they're blowing up left and right. Nobody wants them.
This is insane, the electric vehicle mandate, where everybody had to have a car that happened to be all electric in the next few short years. The mandate, some people want to have gasoline powered, some people want to have hybrids, maybe even someday hydrogen. Right now I don't like it, because when they blow up, they don't ever find the body. They find the body about 5 blocks away. That does not sound promising to me.
Trump also boasted about the budget bill rescuing 2 billion family farms. This appears to be a massive exaggeration. There are only about 2 million farms in the U.S., per USDA data. Let's take a look.
And very importantly for Iowa, this bill rescues over 2 billion family farms from the so-called estate tax, or the death tax. In other words, before Trump, you were losing farms to the banks. Before Trump, you were losing the farms like nobody's ever seen before. You love your children. You don't feel so well. You pass away. You leave everything to your children, and they have to pay a big estate tax, or a death tax, as we call it. And they couldn't do it. They go out and borrow money, and all of a sudden the bank is foreclosing on the farm. Not going to happen. You have no more estate tax. You have no more death tax to pay.
One of the most shocking claims involves foreign policy. Trump bragged about allowing Iran to attack the Udeid Air Base in Qatar on June 23, 2025, saying, "They asked me, is 1 o'clock okay?" I said, "Fine, just don't hurt anybody."
Saw that just the other day, where the missiles are being shot down one after another. You know, they called me to tell me they have to take a shot at us. This was Iran, very respectful. That means they respect us. Because we dropped 14 bombs, they said, "We'd like to take 14 shots at you." I said, "Go ahead, I understand." They said, "Where they'd do it?" I said, "Good." We emptied out the fort. It was a beautiful military base in Qatar who treated us really fantastically well. And they said, "Sir, 1 o'clock okay?" I said, "It's fine. We could make it later." And we had nobody but 4 gunners. We had 4, they call them gunners, and they shoot the Patriots, they shoot the missiles up. It's hard to believe.
On climate change, Trump doubled down on denialism, mocking a 15th Avenue March rain protest in Des Moines as fake tears for a fake crisis. He called climate change a hoax.
Then on the day we woke up, rain is projected all night long, heavy. Oh, I'm saying I'll get my hair soaking wet. My hair's going to be soaking wet. I'll be I'll be crazy. I'll say, you know, this is terrible. It's going to rain 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The thing was at 8 in the evening, 1 o'clock. Rain is forecast at levels you haven't seen before. I said, oh, this is it. And so the generals called me, sir, we could change it, but this is the Army. We're sort of used to bad weather. I said, no, don't change it. I'll wear a raincoat and I'll wear a big fat hat so I don't get totally drenched. I'll be okay. I'm such a tough cookie. And then what happens? We get there and there's no rain. And we go 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of watching these great guys marching down Fifth Avenue. It never rained. And then I thought to myself, global warming, they're telling us what's going to happen in 250 years to our planet, but they can't tell us it's going to rain 3 hours before the event. In 250 years from now, the planet's going to burn up or freeze up. And, you know, remember when they said they called it global warming, then global cooling? They had all different things. Now they just changed it to climate change because climate change you can't miss.
Trump announced RFK Jr. would lead the Patriot Games as part of the America 250 celebrations, describing it as a tremendous nationwide event to showcase American strength.
Through the power of sports, America 250 will also host a brand new, first-of-its-kind youth athletes. It's a competition known as the Patriot Games, and it features top high school athletes from all 50 states. It's going to be great. And this phenomenal patriotic sporting event will be nationally televised, and it will be led by our great Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's really doing it.
On statues and national gardens, Trump revisited his 2020 executive order for a National Garden of American Heroes. He proposed new statues of figures like the great RFK Jr. and others to honor American values, potentially at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. He tied this to the America 250 celebrations, envisioning beautiful monuments across the country.
But we're going to be officially opening the National Garden of American Heroes, a vast outdoor park featuring statues of the greatest Americans who ever lived. You know, they took down a lot of our statues. They took down statues of some of the greatest people that we've ever had living. I stopped them from taking down Thomas Jefferson. They wanted to take the Thomas Jefferson Memorial. They wanted to rip the hell out of the statue inside. You can imagine who they were going to put up. Let's get rid of Thomas Jefferson. So we stopped them. We signed a law. Do you remember that night? It was crazy. And they were marching toward the Jefferson Memorial. And I took out an old bill from 1909. And it was a bill that if you so much as touched, old, because today they don't do these things. They don't do it like they used to. Today you could never get it passed. It said if you so much as touch a monument or a statue, you go to jail for a 10-year period.